this is dkdynamite, and this is how you can unlock a free Nercofluid Gauntlet over in Ashes of the Damned. Definitely stay tuned. As a reminder, folks, as additional Easter eggs do get discovered, expect plenty of updates over on detonated.com, and of course with additional guides here on the channel. Don't forget, you can also use code DYNAMITE to save 12% off any order on Control Freak, including for the brand new Black Ops 7 Performance thumbsticks. It also looks like they've updated the weapon charm that you're going to get a code for within every single package. But the first thing you want to do is make sure that power is turned on in every single point of interest. So you spawn in, grab Old Tessie, and make your way around the entire map, which means you turn on power in the farm, then again in Ashwood, followed by the Black Lake. Once those 3 generators are turned on, you want to make your way back to spawn in the Janus reception area, where you want to walk by this crate to trigger a spawn of an Uber Klaus. Once the Uber Klaus spawns in, make sure you take him down and pick up this computer chip that'll drop beneath his body. Now all you want to do is head back to Ashwood and find Klaus, who's located in a jail cell. He'll be located in the sheriff building right next to Vulture Aid, and upon opening this up, you can actually interact with this little screen and insert the computer chip that you just picked up. Once you do that, it'll say update requires restart, which is probably one of the best gags that Call of Duty has added in, and now your objective is to wake Klaus up. The way that we did it is by throwing stun grenades at him until he ends up standing up. It took us about 3 stun grenades to wake him up, but let me know if you guys had a different experience down below. Maybe other equipment or other methods can also wake up Klaus. But now you're going to have the Klaus controller as your tactical equipment. The person who inserted that chip in front of the jail cell will now have the Klaus controller. Your goal is to head over to the Cosmodrome point of interest, of course, a newer area on the map that we hadn't seen at COD Next. And once you go to the Cosmodrome, you want to head underneath the rocket where this broken panel is, make your way down the hall here, and you want to bring Klaus right to the panel. You can use your controller, or he'll probably just end up flying to you anyway, since he typically follows the player with the controller. And now you're going to see a scanner right in front of the panel. Your goal as the player who interacted with the panel is to stand inside of this red circle for the entire mini lockdown. And I'd also recommend having a decently upgraded weapon, whether it's a higher rarity, whether it's at least Pack-a-Punch tier 2, just to make sure that you're safe in the case a Xursa bear ends up spawning in. Now once this is done, you can pick up a canister right underneath that scanner, and what you'll notice is that you can't actually jump pad with the canister. It'll drop right where you left it, and it looks like you also can't run with the canister, so you're gonna need Old Tessie. You can either have a teammate grab Old Tessie for you, or make sure that you pull up to the Cosmodrome instead of jump padding here once you do that Klaus step that I just mentioned. Now once you get into Old Tessie, the canister will perfectly place in this little slot on the flatbed, and your goal is to take this over to the 3 generators that you turned on to activate the power in each point of interest. So in our game, we first visited Ashwood again, where you can place the canister in that generator, and it'll activate a mini lockdown where you don't have to do anything. You don't have to kill any zombies, just survive as the canister itself does gain some energy. Now once this is done, you have to repeat these at the other 2 generators around the map, but keep in mind you're on a countdown timer with the canister itself actually leaking out energy. So you want to quickly drive over to the next POI, in our case we went to the lake, head over to that generator, rinse and repeat that process, pick up the canister, and drive next to the farm point of interest. I believe you could do this in any order that you'd like, but this is the path that we ended up taking in our game. Once you make it to the farm, which to me makes sense as your last stop in this quest, you're going to go ahead and fill that canister up again, and now you're going to be on another timer to bring this downstairs to that mysterious cube that we all noticed back in the beta. But once you've inserted the canister, your goal now is to go ahead and use the jump pad to Janus Towers Plaza. I'd highly recommend going this path so that you have enough time to see the symbols I'm talking about. You want to take the jump pad to Janus Towers Plaza, and as you're making that jump, you'll notice 3 different red symbols atop some of the buildings here in the farm. Again, you can keep jumping back and forth if you'd like. You don't have to shoot the symbols. Nothing crazy is actually required. You simply have to memorize what those symbols are, and they look exactly like the symbols that we used back in the Citadel Day More Easter egg. So once again, once you're at Janus Towers Plaza, make your jump back to the farm, and you should be able to see those symbols pretty clearly. Now, on the cube itself, you want to keep interacting with each side of the cube until you can match the symbols that you saw on top of the farm. It doesn't matter what order you actually set the symbols in, regardless, if it is correct, it'll then give you the Nercofluid Gauntlet. Pick it up and it'll activate another mini lockdown where all you simply need to do is shoot the orbs that spawn in with the gauntlet and then retract the shots by reloading the weapon. Now, I believe that's what I did in my game, trying to blind solve this part. If not, then use the L1, or in your case, L2 ability that the gauntlet has to also retract those spikes that you shot at the orbs. Either way, you need the gauntlet to actually get rid of those orbs in the room, and once that's done with, you can leave the green circle you were stuck in, and you now have access to the Nercofluid Gauntlet. Feel free to pack-a-punch it upwards of 3 times, and it's unclear if there's another upgrade for it, but for now, it is extremely powerful, especially against the Xursa bears, and it's kind of one of the rarest wonder weapons ever, which effectively gives you unlimited ammo so long as you keep reloading and retracting those shots, whereas when you also retract the spikes, it'll end up killing any of the zombies in the spikes path. This is the sickest thing ever. Such a good wonder weapon.
A little inspect of that real quick.